There are rich people, and then there are people who try to live like they're rich. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry seem to be doing the latter, according to people who know them and say their money situation is getting worse. Everything might look good on the outside, big Netflix deals, luxury homes, and big interviews, but if you look a little closer, you'll see that things don't make sense. For example, Meghan's lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, is now being called as never by some critics. Why? Because it pretty much disappeared before it even started. Meghan made a big deal out of it, put out a fancy promo video, teased a product line, and then just left. No restocks, no follow-ups, and now people say she won't touch any of it until next year, if at all. That's not a break for business. That's what happens when you find out that your sold-out brand only had a few hundred items in stock to begin with. She is hoping that all of this will make her a billionaire. Lady Colin Campbell, a royal insider, says that Meghan and Harry thought they could do a lot more than they actually could, and that they didn't realize how much this kind of thing really costs. The plan was to get Netflix to pay for the brand as part of the same deal they made for content. Meghan thought they would work together, with Netflix paying for everything and her putting her name on some jars of jam, but Netflix didn't believe that. They are said to have only funded a small initial batch instead of thousands of products. That's why Meghan could say that everything was gone in 45 minutes. There wasn't much to sell to begin with. That's the kind of marketing spin you use when you really want to make failure look like success. And now word is that she's pulled the plug because she knows it's not making her any real money, but it gets worse from here. Meghan and Harry have been spending money like they have Bezos money, but they probably don't even have that much, even with the money from Harry's Spare is Not Rich at All. The book was noisy, but it was on sale for a lot less than its original price. Some publishers, like Penguin Random House, were said to be losing money just to save face and pretend the book was a hit. And yes, Harry got his cut, but that payday wasn't life-changing for a billionaire. The couple's whole way of life, private security, expensive real estate, staff, and travel costs a lot of money. And since their big deals are either falling through or being changed, it looks like they've started using money they got from Princess Diana and even the Queen Mother. You know things are bad when you have to spend your inheritance money just to keep up appearances. Lady C says they've been doing this for a while, quietly taking money out of their savings to make ends meet. No, Harry never had an endless supply of royal money just because he was the king's son. People think of him as sitting on a throne of gold, but by American rich people's standards, he's not even close. If they were just regular celebrities without the royal drama, they would probably be seen as financially irresponsible. And now Meghan is changing her mind again. This time it's about fashion. But people in the know are already wondering how she's going to make it happen. It's not cheap to start a fashion line. You need to make, sell, and market your product. If you don't have tens of millions of dollars or a big brand that will let you use your name, it's a losing game. Just ask Victoria Beckham. She had David's money behind her for years before that business even started to make money. Meghan may be counting on name recognition to help her, but that won't work if people aren't literally or figuratively buying what you're selling. The trust isn't there anymore. People saw what happened to the Queen, Prince Philip, and even her own father, and that was enough for many of them to leave. That brings us to the PR stunts. When you've lost the public's trust, you do everything you can to get it back, even if that means making a happy moment happen at 30,000 feet. An American Airlines flight attendant posts a TikTok saying she served Meghan Markle. She has a handwritten note from the Duchess and is smiling from ear to ear. She loves Meghan's nails, her vibe, and her beautiful handwriting. The video goes viral right away. People love it. But it smells like PR behind the scenes. The airline business has very strict rules. Flight attendants can't just post about famous passengers without permission, especially if they include personal notes. The airline would have stepped in, shut it down, and maybe even fired the employee if it had been any other celebrity. But nothing happened. No official statement, no punishment, just silence. This is why so many people think it was planned from the start, and it gets even more interesting. Other stories started to come out around the same time that TikTok came out, ones that made Meghan look much worse, like how she allegedly treated flight crews on previous flights with entitlement and condescension. So what better way to fight that than to have a crew member who loves her and smiles at her, praise her in public for being so sweet and writing cute notes? It's a classic way for the media to work. A heartwarming distraction can help you get over the bad press, but distraction only works for so long when the money problems are getting worse. Meghan's next step into fashion isn't just a creative change, it's also a risky business move. She doesn't design things, she doesn't have a background in fashion, and unlike Victoria Beckham or Rihanna, she doesn't have a clear identity or brand credibility. People who know her say she tried to bully her way onto a big Vogue cover, which is even worse. That's right. She is said to have gone up against Anna Wintour, asking for a global front page feature, not just for herself, but also, it seems, at the expense of Serena Williams, her one loyal A-list friend. People say that Meghan wanted to take Serena off the cover so that she could have her own moment. If this is true, it's one of the most cold-hearted betrayals ever, and it backfired on her because you can't go up against Anna Wintour and come out unscathed. Wintour has built a fashion media empire over the years by being very precise and ruthless. Meghan walked in with no fashion resume and tried to set the rules. It was like a new actor trying to change a Scorsese script. Meghan's hopes for a big fashion launch are fading now that the Vogue deal is said to be dead. If she didn't get that kind of exposure, her collection would have to compete in a very tough market with no guaranteed audience and no goodwill. And if she doesn't want to spend millions of her own money, she'll probably have to make licensing deals. That means that someone else designs, makes, and controls the clothes, and she only gets a small cut. In the best case, she might get 3% to 5% of the royalties, or even 10% if she negotiates like a shark. But there isn't a way to get there that costs $1 billion. No empire, just a brand that might get by with a few headlines and a lot of costs. And that's the bigger problem. Meghan and Harry don't have any more money to lose. People say that King Charles has already made a clear decision. No more money from the government, no more free stuff. If Harry comes back begging, no one will answer him. It's not about you, it's about the rules. Charles was hard on Prince Andrew, and he's not going to change that now, especially since the royal brand is trying to rebuild its reputation. The numbers tell a harsh story behind the glam and carefully chosen picture. They need hundreds of millions of dollars to live the way they do. They only have about a tenth of that. The question isn't just if Meghan's new businesses will work, it's if they can afford to fail again. Meghan and Harry are scared of more than just people getting angry at them or their business ideas not working out. It's the numbers. Their life in Montecito looks like a billionaire's dream come true. Private security teams, sprawling estates, luxury travel PR consultants, stylists, and legal professionals make a lot of money, but it's not nearly enough to keep that kind of empire going. Harry might have made a lot of money from Spare, but people who work in publishing say the numbers aren't as good as they seem. The book was on sale right away. That means lower royalties, lower profits for publishers, and a lot of quiet panic at Penguin Random House. Of course, Harry got his cut, but it wasn't the big payday they were hoping for. It's not much when you take into account taxes, agents, lawyers, and the cost of their lifestyle. People say that the money Princess Diana and the Queen Mother left behind is being used to keep things going. That doesn't count as passive income. That's money. Once it's gone, it's gone. And the way they've been spending it doesn't sound like they have a plan to build long-term wealth. They probably thought that being famous would open doors for them forever. But Hollywood isn't based on stories, it runs on performance, and lately performance hasn't been their strong point. Their big break came with the Netflix deal. There was a lot of fanfare when a $100 million 0 cents partnership was announced, but insiders say Netflix was careful from the start. The platform reportedly cut back on its investment in Meghan's American Riviera Orchard because they knew Netflix was a business. Meghan won't take a risk unless it thinks it can make money. If they thought Meghan's brand could be the next Goop or Skims, they would have put real money behind it. They barely paid for the first batch of products, and now they aren't paying at all. Who will play ball if Netflix doesn't? Meghan is now in a rush to find new partners, fashion designers, private investors, and licensing companies. Anyone who wants to take a chance on her name, but every door she knocks on will ask the same thing. What are the benefits? It's hard to find one right now. The shine is gone. The mood of the public has changed. She's facing a harsh truth. Her name doesn't mean as much as it used to. Too many scandals, too many headlines, and not enough real success. In the fashion and business world's reputation is money. If you lose that, you're just another person trying to sell candles that cost too much. Now, the bigger question is what will happen when the money really runs out. Harry won't get a lot of money anytime soon, especially if Charles stays strong and there aren't any big new deals. They don't have a lot of money coming in. Things get bad fast when you add in the taxes and legal fees from their ongoing fights with the tabloids. And there are already rumors of desperate PR moves that seem like fake brand changes that were rushed. And it's becoming more and more clear that the empire they thought they were building is falling apart before it even starts. Lady Colleen Campbell was very clear. Meghan is done. That's not just a mean jab. It shows how cruel the celebrity world can be when it turns on someone. One bad launch or headline can quickly end all your chances. It is ironic that they used to have the world's sympathy. They left royalty with a media spotlight that only comes around once in a generation. Instead of quietly and smartly building something, they went straight for fame without putting in the work to get there. Now they have to deal with PR distractions, brands that aren't done yet, and a reputation that is getting worse. It's not about what people think anymore. It's about staying alive. Meghan and Harry might be the first royals if things don't change quickly.